Good afternoon.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's for
This is
coming to see us.
Africa TV, and we're talking about the veterans.
Yeah.
Those who have helped.
I'm a young veteran.
Well, I'm also one.
Okay.
So we have to know your life.
Okay.
You were born.
Yeah.
Now, what you've been able
I'm
to
still
do.
very young.
Well,
I got to tell you.
tired but never, retired but never tired.
Never.
Okay, we'll get to know your life as we come in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Can you have your seat?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Hello once again, and welcome to Third Eye Africa TV. And the program is The Veterans. Veterans, of course, we want to look at the lives and times of living legends. We want to know where they were born, their struggle in life, and the peak, the zenith of their career, and what are they doing right now. I will not have to release everything. My guests will release everything to you, to me, and everybody. But one thing I'm so sure of is we're talking of a gentleman police officer who is retired but never tired. We were just chatting behind the scene, and he said, "Look, I'm tired but never tired, and so much available." I want to look at what it takes to have a police force in Nigeria, community policing. An officer who has also been engaged in the fight against terrorism, and not just that, he has had reasons to lead the United Nations security, contingent in Sierra Leone and many other places like that. Flashpoints of problems, conflict, insecurity. You will find him trying to make life better for community, better for humanity. I want to welcome Mr. Wilson Inalegwu. He used to be an Assistant Inspector General of Nigerian Police Force. So I want to thank you for honoring our invitation.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. So let's.
I like your name.
Yes, Third Eye Africa TV. Every other person has 2 eyes, but we have 3 eyes. We see what others are not seeing. And that was why we use the third eye to identify you.
Thank you.
And we are here.
Thank you.
Yeah, now let's start this way. Who is Wilson Inalegwu?
Well, like you rightly said, AIG Wilson Inalegwu retired. I was born in Onyagede, Himini local government area of Benue State. But I'm actually from Utupo local government, Adoka, but born in Himini local government area. And as a young fellow, I started my primary school at the LEA primary school, Onyagede, present to Himini local government area. But in 1970, after the Nigerian Civil War, my brother took me to Port Harcourt, and we're at the B Squadron in Rumokrushi in Port Harcourt. And I had my elementary education largely in Rumokrushi, Port Harcourt River State. And in 1974, I got admission to Idoma Community Secondary School.
Idoma Community Secondary School. From LEGA local government.
Yes.
So you are a native,
Oh, yes.
all this kindergarten matter, not your portion.
We are originals.
Yes, original. Very, very native.
Yeah, very, very. And then, after my secondary education, I just worked very briefly as a clerical officer, audit. And then after 1 year, I got admission to the University of Jos, where I studied management studies. And in 1984, I graduated from the University of Jos to BSc Honors. And then I went to serve in Imo State, 84, 85. And I was at a place called Mobile at Isu local government area of Imo State. Then it was Unkwere Isu, and Mobile is a village at the comprehensive high school, Mobile in Imo State. And while I was serving, before I went for my service, immediately I graduated from the University of Jos, quite young. I saw a beautiful, very young girl, my wife Patience.
You know, those days, there was a damsel.
Yeah,
you saw a damsel.
And then after I was going for the camp, I saw her, I said, I don't want to miss this beautiful girl. And then I saved my NYC in it. We were getting 200 naira, and I was saving 100 naira every month, plus my bicycle allowance. I put it together. And in April 13th, 1985, I married her, paid the dowry, and then and I allowed her.
So you saw her during your service year?
No. As I graduated from the University of Jos, as I was waiting to report to camp, I saw her and I said, look, I'm marrying this girl. So when I went to camp, I had an objective. I couldn't afford to fritter away my earnings. And from the 200 naira I was getting as a core allowance, I was saving 100 naira every month. And I saved a substantial part of my bicycle allowance. And with my aunt, Fatu, now late, she supported me. And in April 1985, I got married. So by this year, I'm 41 years in marriage.
Okay.
And I'm blessed.
Yeah.
So that is
what then after graduation, you haven't done your national youth service.
Yeah.
What was the attraction in police force? Because, I mean, here you are, you're talking about being working with some audit firm, and of course, see the way you manage your funds, very, very prudent.
Yeah.
You know, saving.
Yeah,
But if you don't fail, you should go for the khaki, the police.
Yeah, no, I actually wanted to be a banker. That's what I felt the uniform job was too rough kind of thing. And then just about a month or two or so, the audit department, Benue, gave me a job. But I was there in November 84. I mean, they gave me a job in October, but November 85 we were shortlisted for police cadet interview. And I went to Kaduna. And I think Ismail Agwazo was the chairman of the interview board.
Ismail Agwazo,
yeah,
the former
AIG.
NSA. Okay.
Yeah, former NSA. Okay. AIG there.
To Abacha that time.
I still remember precisely. He was the chairman of the board. And then we had Zach Maharube. I think he was. I remember them now because we asked. And they did the interview in November 85. And we went back, and one day we bought a copy of the Nigeria Voice. That's a local newspaper in Benue. And on the back top page, it said 5 succeed police cadet interview. And I think my name was number 1. I just found myself, and I went to Ikeja 1st February 1986, and I started my training at the Premier Police College Ikeja. And
that's along Oba Akinjobi
in
GRA.
And we have very exciting colleagues who are there. In fact, the present NSA,
that's Ribadu,
and the late Brian Lamonde. Of course, my friend Kabir Ibrahim is in Zaria, Diko Mejeri. From my state, you had Edwin Ubiche, you had CP Anthony Boji, and just a few A small number, and it was very interesting. And then by 87, we passed out of from the police college in Kenya, Lagos. And then I was posted to Plateau, where I attended the university.
That was back to base.
Back to base. I was posted to C division job. Then it was also posted to Bongo.
So when you say C division, what does it mean?
Oh, it reminds me of my early career, because when I was posted to C division of my attachment, I was very young, very slim. Actually, my waist size was 26 or 28. So I was so slim that I love to wear a jacket because I didn't want people to see me so tiny in the uniform. And we were always patrolling. I would have my rifle, it might be a K2, and I would have my pistol. When I go to work, 10 in the morning, I close 5, 10 in the night, I'm back, and we're parading Masalasi Juma, Muhammad Wada, and Old Bukuru Park on foot. We'll get some side, and then we'll be going. Once I close by 5, I go home by 10 o'clock p.m. I was back in the office, even though I was on attachment. We were rotating, CRO, how to station management, how to manage station, and then you go to admin, you go to patrol.
Let me interject here. Yeah. Before we continue with your career progression, at the police training college, what exactly were you being taught?
Thank you. At the police college, first of all, is to wash up the civilian in you. I was, first of all, when I reported I was going BS, which I have so much treasure, the first thing they took me to the barber's workshop, took out my hair, and then took out my beards. And then they gave us white shirts, white polo, and white shirts with white canvas. And we started attention by number, teaching you how to stand at attention, at ease. And those were building blocks for the disciplinary life that you are expected to inculcate or have as a police officer. And then we're doing parade, tattoo. By 10 o'clock, they assemble us, and then they take nominal roll. And then by 9 o'clock, we're in class. I hope it's 9 or 10. After morning exercise, morning jogging, you do your parade, you are paraded, you are expected. And then our commandant then was Amadou Shaidu. I think the son is the executive secretary, police trust fund.
Okay.
Very competent officer.
So it's in the blood.
Yeah, competent officer he was. Training. And then the former AIG, Hindero, was specially drafted to train us. And he was at the advanced training wing where we were being trained. He did the day-to-day training. And we're doing parade, shooting, class work, different aspects, criminal law, miscellaneous acts, and then police duty, how arrest procedures, first aid, and all these things were being taught from one state to the other. And in August 86, we had our first attachment, and I was in my attachment. I was posted to Denton Police Station. Denton Police Station is not far from Oyinbo bus stop and all that. And then we were patrolling all those places. And then
that's Oyinbo in Lagos.
Yes, in Lagos. We were taught how to make entry. We were taught how to interview complainants. And then you are taught how to refer cases for basic police duty. Those steps that will make you a competent officer in your career. And those things they were, taking us through. You could know local knowledge, all the streets in the college, because
that's knowing the environment.
That's what we call it local knowledge. That is what we are seeing today, community policing, making contact with the public, looking at prominent people, looking at important shops, mechanical shops, motor parks, so that, and then the prominent people within your area of responsibility, your beat that is given to you, you patrol, you're expected to memorize some vehicle numbers, because these are things that when you go to the field, they become useful. You are taught how to recognize people. You watch people. You don't just put your head down. You walk, chest out, so that when you come across people, you should be able to say, "Oh, I saw it wearing a green red cap. He's wearing a wristwatch, ring, ash-colored dress." You should be able to give a description. Those things, and then. The first exam we did, they just say, what is the name of the commandant, his vehicle plate number, how many streets, name 5 streets at the police college, because you are expected to have local knowledge, because you are going to be sent out on patrol, and you should be able to recognize features. When somebody passes you, you should be able to recognize if they say they are chasing a thief. Or say, did you see somebody pass by? What cap was he wearing? What dress was he wearing? Did he have a tribal mark? So these were the kind of local knowledge. These were the things that were meant to, make you an officer. Those were the building blocks of your service.
Okay. Now, thereafter, you started having some command duties, command functions, and it having to do with maybe from a DPO up to assistant.
DPO. You have to be on attachment. ASP 1 star, a lonely star. He didn't have a brother, just one peep. And when you take your confirmation after 2 years and you pass your confirmation exam, it's part of the civil service, because you have to take your confirmation exam conducted by the Federal Civil Service, and then if you are confirmed, and then you are given the 2nd star. And so I started at first as Divisional Crime Officer 2 at the C Division, and I was very lucky. I had a very competent senior officer, CSP, late CSP Dauda Egegele. And I think it was a privilege to work with him, because he understood police work. And then again, I had Jacob Betu, another very competent officer. He was my DPO. And then the 3rd one, at a stretch, I had 3 very competent officers that I worked with. And I think it was a rare privilege for an officer to work with such highly experienced officer. Firm and kind, and they taught me basic duties from station management, which is the first phase. You can be you are in the front office. If you're able to interview suspects or complainants, when they are brought in, and there you move to patrols. Then you move to patrols, you move to investigation, and from investigation you move to admin. These are meant to expose you. And when we concluded attachment, my first posting was a divisional crime officer. And they said, you were very hardworking during your attachment. And I was left in Jos, Metropolis. I'm not saying going to local government is bad, but I had the privilege of working in Jos. I was divisional crime officer.
Yes.
DCO to C Division. Yes, that was my first duty post.
Yes, let's begin to look at when you started wearing the rank of assistant commissioner, deputy commissioner, then commissioner, and the various duties and assignments.
When I left, I was in CID in Jos. I was OCS Port. From CID in Jos, after OCS Port, I went to Police College Kaduna. I was there for 4 years in the advanced training wing, and I was teaching miscellaneous acts, the Constitution, Official Secret Act, and other acts. And after that, I was posted to Niger State, and I became DPO, Shiruru Police Division, the power station.
That's in Niger State.
In Niger State. The Shiruru Power Station was directly my responsibility. That has a capacity of generating power 600 megawatts. I was as a deputy superintendent of police. And then
the nation's assets were with you.
Yes. And then I was later posted to Gauba Bangida. And I had an experience. We had armed robbers were disturbing on Lambata Lapai Road. And on this day, we disguised with not a police vehicle, and then we decided to patrol, see if the robbers would come. That was the day God saved me. We were following the vehicle, and we were on the queue. I was, young, very agile. So when we started exchanging fire with the armed robbers, one of my officers, out of cowardice, I think a corporal or so, he was not on the straight line with us. He stepped back and fired his gun. And I had cap. It jammed. If it had fired, it would have just pulled out my head.
Wow.
But God saved me. I just thought I should mention.
I
just thought I should mention
some of the hazards of the job. So, and that would have been under friendly fire.
Of course. Because instead of staying on the straight line with us, because we were advancing as we were exchanging. And I don't know how I took a step back. I was really behind me because I led them as a GPU. I led them. And then we were able to do a lot. And the robbery there was much, but we walked, we would trek in the bush. All my finger and my toes were totally dark because we would enter bush. We wanted to see where the bandits or robbers were. We enter bush from the zone. We would bust out in Suleja. So that was something that I love to talk about. And then, when I was in Jos, I was also privileged, a very young officer. I passed out 1987. By 89, the Namibian mission, the United Nations Transition.
Yes, actually, yes. We'll come to your foreign duty.
Yeah, okay, good.
Namibia and Sierra Leone. We'll come to that.
So my work.
Yes.
So I was DPO Shiruru Dam, DPO Gauba Bangida, or where you call Lambata. That junction, one road is going to Lapai, another one to Mina, another one to Suleja.
Yeah.
Terrible place.
That T junction.
We were not sleeping.
With the oil installations around.
Yes, we were not sleeping. Every day. It was like I had a chant because every day we were removing obstacles from the road. And why did that? I took it extra. I traveled to, let me tell you this little gist. I traveled to Lagos with my friend and we were driving back and I was the one driving. Zuberu from Niger. And we go to Bodesadu. I saw a police vehicle by
Kwara State.
Kwara State. I saw a police vehicle by the road. It was around 7:30. And we were going. When I saw the police vehicle, I said the road was free. I had never, even though I've been a police officer for some years, I've never had that experience. And we were going. And my friend, Zuberu, I was driving his car. He said, Oga, I said, see, I'm Robert J. Road. Oh, I got to the place. They had sealed the road, rock. This quanta, from one end to the other. I looked, there was nowhere to pass. So I trafficated to stop. And the Spirit of God told me, what are you stopping? I turned the car. It was like everything in the car somersaulted. I turned And we went back to, reinforce or scatter them, from the road. So when I had that experience, traveling from Lagos, so when I was moved from Shiroro to Babangida, I took it upon myself to free that road, that armed robbers will not operate there. And I was ready, we were patrolling. If the police car breaks down, my personal car, which I bought when I returned from mission, I will give it to my policeman. Because I said I couldn't afford the road to be without police presence.
Okay.
I was giving my personal car, and the governor heard about it. Then Kure, he invited me to his office. He told the CP to take me to his office. I said, look, officer, I just want to thank you. First Bank, when they knew I was DPO Babangida, the manager said, look, anytime this officer comes here, don't delay him. When my mother died, I didn't have much money. The manager of the First Bank in Mina approved salary overdraft for me to just support me. He said, look, you kept that road. It's just that Nigerians are very appreciative people. That was the one thing, my experience in, and I made a lot of friends in Lagos.
Now, you see,
and then I now proceeded to Lagos, to the airport. I was OC NACO. I was officer NACO as a CSP. And then when I was Assistant Commissioner of Police, I was AC Operations in the Federal Capital Territory. And as AC Operations, from 2007, February 15th, when I reported, when we came, and I'm saying it to the glory of God, when we took over, the crime in the FCT, there was a spike before we took over. They were snatching cars, 10 and above cars at gunpoint. People go and withdraw money from the bank, and they will mock them and take the money. And so I had a rare privilege when Dr. Aliyu Modibo, Aliyu Modibo,
that's FCT Minister.
FCT Minister.
He's now the presidential advisor, political.
Yes, to the office of the vice president.
Yes.
And he came. I was AC Ops, and they said, look, what can he do? You hear from 7 to 7:30. Or if you are carrying the police walkie-talkie, everywhere, snatch car here, snatch car there, attack there. So, I had a fantastic commissioner of police, the late DIG Haruna John, fantastic, operationally, very sound officer. So they went, the DCs and the commissioner, they went to welcome the minister. And I told them, how can we bring down crime in the FCT? The complaint is too much. I want to set up a special squad. There and then, I wasn't there. The commissioner of police said, look, my AC Ops will head it. There and then, we started holding meetings, and we came about the acronym, ACOS, Abuja Crime Control Squad. I was appointed the commander of Abuja Crime Control Squad. And NTA interviewed me, and I told them we were going to bring down this crime from whatever percentage to less than 40%. I just said it, And then Modibo now said, let's see us. What do we need? I've just come. He bought us, first of all, he bought us 10 vehicles. Because we had just 6. Before Modibo came, we had 6 Mazda to police the whole of the FCT. So, the Modibo bought 10 vehicles. I went to him again. The CP now said, look, AC Ops, just stay. go to SCDA. So I was always with the SA security and the director of security. I more or less had my office there.
Yes.
Like that.
So I think we have to jump to some level when you become the assistant inspector general.
You know, I love to talk about this AC of how we brought that. I want to talk about it briefly.
Okay.
You can cut it off during the course of your... It doesn't matter. But it's something I love to talk about. And then the former minister will now talk. He now bought us 90 406. We call it Capital Patrol. We call it Kilo Papa. We positioned them. He went ahead. We started the G6. He bought us pickups again. And now we told Abuja people that, look, I was a commander. And then say, look, we now circulated our helplines, the hotlines, that if there is an attack in your home or your we report within 3 minutes, maximum 5 minutes, you see police. And it was like we're European police. Once there's anywhere, you can have to 4-5 vehicles. But he was buying us fuel, he was paying stipend to the personnel. So I just thought I should mention this because it was a very impactful period. And we stopped bank robbery completely. People should go and check their record. From that period, February 2007, we stopped bank robbery in the FCT. You withdraw your money, they snatch it, rob you. We stopped it. Unnecessary robbery, anagada everywhere. God used us through the support, which means where you have the whole of government and the whole of society approach, you can reduce crime. And then from there, I was in the villa. I was deputy commissioner of presidential VIP movement, and then commissioner of police, Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, and then I was graciously promoted assistant inspector general of police, and I was posted as AIG Zone 9 Omahia.
And you had commissioners under you?
Oh yeah, I had 4. I was responsible for Enugu State, Abia State, Imo State, and Anambra State. So I had 4 commissioners. So I was an area IG. Actually, an AIG is an IG. That is the definition of the act. Who is an IG? An IG officer of the rank of AIG, DIG, and IG. So I was area IG for Zone 9, if I may say so.
Okay. Yeah. Now, so at that point, policy implementation will also rest on your shoulders.
Yeah, that's right.
As an AIG. So now, looking back at that time, the journey of the Nigerian police force. I mean, if you compare that time and even today, I mean, any room for comparison? Some will say today is better, but in Nigeria they say, yesterday is always better. What is it like in your own opinion?
I want to say that in context. I say that with all sense of responsibility, that the working environment, the resources we are providing will help you. Don't forget, our population is growing very rapidly. Look at Abuja. When I was sitting here, Abuja was not as big. We didn't have all these essays we have all over the place. So, during our time, it was easier. I mean, now AIGs are in charge of 2 states. I had 4 states. A place that should be challenging. Do you understand? So now, I think what needs to be done. Now the police needs more support. If you don't give them support in terms of logistics, in terms of human resources, there's very little they can do. When you visit a police station, they don't have anything. They have nothing to work with. Now, everybody is talking about state police. Yes, the solution lies in government having the political will, looking at the police institution as a critical institution within the security architecture of Nigeria, because the challenges that Nigeria has at the moment are internal security challenges. We are not having Cameroon attacking us. We are not having Niger or Chad. We are having insurgents in the northeast, banditry, kidnapping in the northwest, herders farmers violence in the north central, resource agitation in the south, separatist agitation in the southeast, and of course in the southwest, they're also having their own little separatist agitation, but it's more or less of Yahoo and some level of cultism, all those things. So that, I'm trying to give you a crime map of Nigeria. So our criminals are not sophisticated. Yeah, they say Boko Haram, they use, drones. They have eye in the sky. You are the third eye. The Boko Haram, through their drones, they have eye in the sky. But I think they lack the training that the Nigeria police, the police mobile force, which should be undergoing constant training as special forces, joint training with the military, joint training with the civil defense, joint training with the DSS. And the civil role, the local government and state government. And I think that is why I talk about a whole of society and a whole of government approach. That's what you are going to do. That's what you are going to do about security coordination. And I have been privileged to work in an environment where security coordination works. But we have multiplicity. The layers are increasing by day, and it's making management very problematic. So
yes, we'll come to all of that as we just go on. I will just go on a very short break, and when we do come back, we'll look at the need for this state policing. Here you are giving the testimonials, I'll put it that way, of a bank in Niger State assisting you because you are doing very well. Yeah. Which also means that at that point the community has started owning the police.
Yeah, that's
but today we are seeing a kind of a gap that needs to be bridged. We'll come to all of that, and my name is Ben Sherman. Our guest remains a former AIG, Assistant Inspector General of the Nigerian Police Force. We'll come to all of that. Thank you as we go on this break.
The first reason why matters are prolonged and thereby having cold files, according to you, is because poorness of investigation. Other reasons why we have cold files are the procedural system in our adversarial adjudication.
Interference on the part of the government. That interference is the one that usually becomes a backlog in the wheel of prosecution counsel.
No matter how stupid any corrupt man is, if he's going with billions of naira, be sure that he will have part of that billion aside to fight and defend the corruption. Part of the defense is protraction, delay of the trial.
The politicization in Nigeria is one of the core problems bedeviling our legal system. In election matters, we hardly get settled principle. They change by the day because there is political interference. Our system is structured in a way that if our prosecutory bodies want to work, the work is easy. But what I believe is if, for instance, they don't genuinely intend to prosecute, if it's just to persecute the person, they want you to just stay in prison, do the media trial, presenting that this person is being charged for this, charged for that. I think sometimes it's a case of the prosecutor being responsible and the person being prosecuted also being responsible.
This is where we focus critically on numerous unresolved cases in the Nigerian and African judiciaries. My name is Charles Agedu. Join me on Code Files, a chronology of unresolved crime cases, only on Third Eye Africa TV.
Welcome back. And let's look at the issue of welfare of the Nigerian police force. Some people say it's down there, that's why at the point, almost every checkpoint, some drivers, some commuters will have to give something to enable them have right of passage, I mean, in a very brief way, what will you say about the welfare of the Nigerian police force members?
Yeah, the welfare is very poor. When you are transferred, you hardly get paid your inconvenience allowance. Even when you are in training school, you hardly get any special allowance. When I was Director of Central Planning and Training Unit at the Police Staff College, Jos, my hardship allowance every 6 months was 20,000. Not monthly, 20,000. The fuel money, not more than 32,000 to maintain my vehicle and all that. I mean, this is unrealistic. I gave you a good story that in the FCT, the ministers will provide you money with you, will maintain the vehicle. It doesn't happen in the States. It can't happen in the States. So, the welfare of personnel, but I think the character of any officer who brings the name of the force to public ridicule. A woman is carrying her children to school, you stop. I mean, even if you are not paid, just imagine it's your wife that is taking your children to school. I will not make excuse. But I think if you talk of other agencies, I don't want to mention this, but if you go to anyone on checkpoint, the behavior is awful. It's not good. And I think it is what the visiting round officers must do, that they should imagine their mother-in-laws at the back of a pickup going to market, and they see them collecting 100, 50 naira. How does it tell on them as in-law to that woman who is in that thing? Because by the time you retire, and any officer, these things cannot help you. It is only the provider that can satisfy you. Because if it were satisfied, you can't be going every day and be expecting.
Now, what about issues of uniform, for example?
Oh, yeah.
Some people will say, they have to pay to buy shoes, buy kit yourself. Even your rank, you have to buy.
Oh, sure. Let me tell you, when I was DP with Babangida, my personnel were about 213. That was my strength in number. My establishment was more. And they will bring a kit, supply. Maybe they bring for 5 or maximum 10 or maximum 20 out of 213. And then I'll call a lecture. Normally we have where we train, we talk to them about what is going on. So, you know how I used to share? The first 10, I give them. Because how can you share 10 without leaving out some people? So, when I say there's lecture, I publish it in the daily instruction, and I go and sit down. The first 10 to come, I give you.
The rest, everyone will bear his cross.
Oh, you have to buy. Because if you don't buy, are you on the street? You know, there is a popular saying that the way you are dressed
is the way you'll be dressed.
You are addressed. So, most of the personnel buy their kits, their uniform. But the tradition when we were younger officers, it is only when you are an officer, a superior police officer, a senior officer, from 1 star to AIG, that you buy your kit. From constable to inspector, they are not supposed to buy. But if they give you
But it's not so with other armed forces, the Army, Navy, Air Force.
No, I think our country is not yet serious about insecurity. But we advise them, if your DPO sees you shabby, or even you are coming to work and your wife sees you dressing in a shabby way, so you have to save out of your...
Exactly. One is taken aback. Sometimes you see on a motorbike, you see police officers big rank, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 star. You see them on motorcycle. But check those who have just done even passing out parade in NDA, 1 star, 1 peak. You don't see them. So sometimes the courage and the image in society. What does that say?
Yeah, but I think I read a piece that the new Inspector General of Police, I think, has provided these CNG buses to take officers to and from work. And I think the FCT, they announced it to officers. And what you are saying is true. When I know you are not an international aid, but when I was a peacekeeper in Namibia, it is impossible that a police officer in uniform, what still with firearm, will enter any other means of transportation. The police vehicle must come and pick you from a designated place.
But this issue, yes.
So all this one is indiscipline. All this one is in machine, one carry one with traffic. No.
Yeah.
Government.
And sometimes
you see,
the person is even a passenger in a commercial motorcycle.
Yeah, no. You see, these are the things of welfare. These are the simple things, because it's not even police alone. Almost every agency, you say uniform people.
Okay, now
that's why in Lagos they call them officer.
Yes, let us come to this issue of discipline before the gun. I mean, issue of accidental discharge, and sometimes has it to do with training or something. At this accidental discharge, and sometimes you see a bus stop. It's easy that civilians become some victims at the point.
Yeah,
physical beating, human rights.
When you have a rifle, you are supposed to leave it on. You are not supposed to cock if there is no immediate danger. And if you are on patrols and there is immediate danger, you can cock and you apply the safety pin. That is the way you are taught. And no police officer will be given a rifle if he has not been told how to use that weapon. He must have gone to range, is properly assessed, and that is why it's only from corporal that carry weapon in those days. I don't know what is happening now. But our officers are given training. But the government can make it easier for more ammunition, more so that they will not use the training of it 370,000 and finish all the ammunition. So, government, now that DICON, the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria, is working, I think it's important that the government orders more ammunition, more rifles, so that more officers can be regularly trained. Not that when you go to training, after firing, you come out maybe 5 years, 6 years, you have not gone back. No. But this thing is supply, plays a part of this.
Now, do you believe in, some people will say the police, members of the police force should be barracked, housed in barrack. Some will say, no, let them live with the community so that they know themselves. What's your opinion on any of this?
First of all, the special forces, the mobile police, the counter-terrorism, those should be put in concentrated barracks. Well, with a staff...
easy mobilization.
You can mobilize them. But for investigators, the blue guys, government should provide them with special police housing loan so that they can live among people. If you provide them with special loan, and I'm told when I was in one of the missions, one of my friends from the UK, I think Lenny, that's his name, they said they were giving them barracks. But from the 70s, they discouraged barracks, and they were giving them reasonable loans 600,000 pounds, 300,000 pounds. They give them. You know what that happens? That means if you misbehave and you lose your job, you will not be able to pay your mortgage. So such welfare scheme is going to help the officer that, look, if I am dismissed, I will lose this house because they will foreclose it. These are ways welfare can also be used as a weapon or instrument for discipline. So officers should live among the population.
So, and that brings us to the issue of community policing.
But before then, government must ensure that they have a good scheme, not one that is tainted, corrupt, but the one that is transparent, accountable, and the youngest constable will have a house. And then when they are building houses in the town, all will not be gigantic houses. All will be some that officer can afford room and parlor, but the officer knows that is his own. But if he misbehaves and he's sacked, he can't pay his mortgage. The house good. So if you offer him bribe, you say, I'm paid.
Okay. Now let's look at this issue of state police.
Yeah.
The fear, some people say, governors will control and deal with political enemies. Deal with journalists. So they are troublemakers. Unleash terror on them. Some will say, no. Nigeria is therefore not yet ripe for state police. Where do you stand here?
I stand. I have given more than 20 interviews on state police. And I say, state police is good, but we are not yet ripe.
Oh, so you belong to that group. When are we going to be ripe? With all these myriads of kidnapping, banditry.
It is not because there is no state police. It's not because there is no state.
So what's the issue?
State police is not provided. Police is not, nothing is given. Am I a man? Was I not in Babangida? When the things are both Christians and Muslims say, look, this is our DPO. Let nothing happen to him. They will all come together and pray for him.
AIG in Inalegwu.
Yes.
When are we ripe for state police?
First of all, I want us to get our elections right. I think there is still small K-leg in our elections. And what do I mean by getting our elections right? When you contest, 10 people vote for you. It will not be 5. It will be 10. We elect you with 10 votes. You are our chairman of whatever local government. And after 3 or 4 years, you don't work. We are not satisfied with Mr. John's performance. We will vote you out. Why was John voted out? He spent 3-4 years. People didn't have even the culvert that market women should use today. He didn't make culvert. He didn't do road. Majority are crying. The democracy should give people the opportunity. I managed the elections from 2007 in the FCT up to 2016. I was the technical chairman of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. I organized all the other forces as AC operations, and then as CP. Let people go and vote. Let their vote count, so that anybody who has state police is using it to harass people. The public, they should not use that state police to hang on to office. This is my view.
Okay. Now,
and then go and read the Gobi panel report that Agui Rossi set up when he assumed office, and which General Yakubu Gowon in March 1968 implemented through the Yusuf Gobi panel report, brought the NA police, the Palace police, the Akodas and brought them under Nigeria police in 1968. And I said in my last program, we had very serious nationalists. The late Sadamba, the late Tafawa Balewa, Chief Abubakar Awolowo, the great Zik. If regional police was not so successful during their time, is it these desperate people now that will lead that? If you tell them this state police shouldn't carry gun, they will not like it.
So now, yes, just to add this,
Yeah.
because we're talking about situations where insecurity so palpable. I mean, it's discernible. You can see, you can feel, you can hear, you can sense it. And you see, some politicians are actually, some will say, oh, because of bad governance. But you've had reasons to go on peacekeeping operations, Namibia, and of course Sierra Leone, where the Raktak soldiers were all over the place. Now, bring to bear some of your experiences that if that is done the way you saw it over there, if it is done here in Nigeria, copy paste as the computer.
Number one, I start from election.
Yeah.
When I was in Namibia, during the voter exercise, we monitored. After the voter registration, when they went to England or somewhere to print, the civilian police from the UN, they went there from printing, were there. They took serial number, followed it to the plane. Plane landed in Windhoek International Airport. Some other police with UN people were there. That's how they escorted to every place. And we were there. So there was no gap for somebody to print his own and took it in.
So the honesty of the politician is there.
Yes.
In that case.
Yes. So what I want, there must be safeguards. I think that was how the election in Namibia. The Democratic DTA would have won the SWAPO, the South West African People's Organization, SWAPO. But because the election was very transparent. And they are still doing it till tomorrow. That is one. I was in Sierra Leone. In Namibia, I was under United Nations Transition Assistance Group, 89-90, in Namibia. The untagged Namibia, they call it. And in 2005, I went for UNAMPSI, United Nations Mission in Sierra Leone. And I was in the election room.
Once again.
Yes. I was the chief of operations. But shortly before the election, I came back. But I know the UN conducted that election. And I know it was free, fair, and credible.
So, well, just like you said, some topics are for some other days.
Yeah.
But I think that for now, our viewers will be very glad that a former AIG, Wilson
Inalegwu,
has been speaking with us, and of course, he has told us, as a veteran he is, he said he's young, which is true, as you can see. And
I retired 7 years plus ago.
Well, I retired
so
about 4
guess
years
my
ago.
age. And I retired based on age. So I retired 7 plus, 7 years plus.
Well, I'm trailing behind. I retired about 4 years ago.
Yeah, you're a young man.
We are young in the struggle.
Yeah, I know.
And it is here that we have to end this edition of The Veteran. And The Veteran has featured Wilson Inalegwu, a former Inspector General of Police who has done proud to this country at home and abroad. Internal security, you find him. Election management, you find him.
Yes, sir.
Credibility in terms of ensuring that the ballot paper is returned the way it is, you find him there. I want to thank you, sir, for coming and participating in this program, The Veteran. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the privilege. It's an opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.